imposter syndrome is in and of itself a misnomer and impossible. To be an imposter, what am I an imposter? I'm an imposter of Jeanne Omlor? No, I'm Jeanne Omlor all the time. And sometimes I'm super confident, and sometimes I may be less confident. Still Jeanne Omlor, confidence or not. That's it. Boom.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and turn them into cash-based multimillionaire entrepreneurs. Warning, if you're a doctor who listens to this podcast regularly, you will make millions of dollars. Do not listen to this podcast unless you want to be a successful clinic owner who helps thousands of patients achieve their health goals and adds more money than you can imagine to your bank account. You've been warned.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and we turn them into super clinic owners. I'm your host, Jennifer Gligoric, and today we have a fascinating guest that I know you guys are just going to love. She started out as a fashion designer, which was her major. Then she made her way to London and worked as an actor. And then she made her way over to the pond in New York, and she starred in a big budget film, which you might have seen her with Catherine Zeta-Jones. Along the way, she ended up working on Wall Street as an executive recruiter. So as you guys know, I have a background in that. So her and I had a little bit to talk about that. And then she had become a struggling single mom over the years. After having a really successful career, she was able to reinvent herself as an entrepreneur, realizing she had a real talent for scaling multi-million-dollar corporations and businesses. So let us give a huge Super Clinic welcome to coach, marketer, and strategist Jeanne Omlor to the show today. Welcome, Jeanne.
Jennifer, that was one of the best intros I've ever had being on a podcast. Thank you.
Well, you're fascinating. You've done so much in your life. You've just squeezed every bit. Like, when you think about someone who takes a peach and they just eat it and they love it and just, you just always remind me, this is what the second or third time we've spoken, as someone who just takes life and you're like, you're the ultimate. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But if you don't have lemons, just manifest some new destiny.
Oh my goodness, Jennifer, you got me. You're one of the few people that gets me. That's exactly. And one of my best sayings is, I just make lemonade all day long.
You do. I just find you absolutely fascinating. So, our audience is mostly clinic owners, but they are trying, all of them, to pivot, right? So healthcare, as you know, is just broken right now. And so we're dealing with a lot of cash pay clinics. They're mostly anywhere from just starting out to, we have a pretty good chunk of our clinics are already over 100,000 a month. And we have a couple that are, 200,000-300,000, probably more than a couple a month. Right. But they're always looking to push forward, to make the next thing. And your personality as a strategist and what you're doing, getting people to multi-million-dollar, companies is exactly what they're striving to do. So one of the things that you've spoken about is how you are able to leverage what you already know to help others, which I think is so important when people are stuck, right? They can, or they have money fears. They don't realize that they're sitting on a gold mine. So can you talk about that a little bit?
For sure. You put that really well. They're sitting on a gold mine. As you were speaking, I'm like, yep, you get me. This is the thing. We don't need, what happens with people is they're like, oh my goodness, this isn't working. What do I do? I'm going to go do that course. Because then I'll feel wholer, more whole. I'm going to be better. So I'm going to take that certification. Now I feel like that's not the answer. The answer is not just more knowledge or more. It's really, by the way, when you go to a certification, how much do you actually know? You just learned something, you pass the test. But it's more about like, oh, other people see I'm certified. Nobody really cares. They do care about certain certifications. Like, let's see, if you're a doctor, we want to know that you have, that you've passed your medical exams, right?
Yeah, that's the most basic. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Do you know what you're doing? And even then, it's not always a test of competence. It's, can I trust this person?
Exactly. Let's face it. Let's just say it. Many doctors do not know what they're doing. Many do not know what they're doing. But at least we're thinking, well, at least they passed the medical exams. So there's a chance. It's better than going to somebody that says, nope, I don't have my medical exams. But then again, I find a lot of the health coaches better than the doctors sometimes, and they are not doctors. So there's my point. The good health coaches are not saying, gee, I better go get my, I better go do my medical exams and become a doctor to then teach them on stuff I already know, right? They're saying, hey, I'm not a doctor, but I have figured some stuff out that doctors don't even know. Here's some results of people I've worked with. It's working. So, and then people can make that choice. Well, maybe I will just hire a health coach, because this health coach who's admitting they're not a doctor is showing results.
Yeah. And you can get very powerful when you can be both. We have, I think of
Could be both.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think of a lot of clinic owners that I work with. They're literally leaving broken or toxic systems because they are that person like, look, we've really figured things out. And we have, empirical evidence from the people that we've worked with when we've done this sort of treatment, which insurance won't even look at. It actually works and gets people well. And they're told, don't do that. And so they're leaving the systems that are telling them not to do that, to make their own. And they're going, wow, it's really hard to break through the indoctrination that the patients have. I really think that there's a lot of, I'm speaking for our clients that we work with. We have some really good ones that are just getting, really good results, and they're getting lots of testimonials. I've looked at hundreds of testimonial videos from our clients, and I'm like, why won't insurance even look at stuff like that?
They won't. Well, let's not get
Lenny.
that.
Yeah.
We can mention one thing later, but the thing is, it's true. I actually work with a lot of physicians to help them become coaches, because during the whole 19 thing, I won't mention the word because it makes your ratings go down, but the whole 19, all right, is that they were just like, I have so much debt and I don't like doing this anymore. What do I do, Jeanne? I said, well, you could become a coach, because, and not all of them were health coaches. They were life coaches, all sorts of stuff. We have helped many doctors to be, physicians, that's what they like to be called, many physicians to become coaches. And they would say, oh, gee, I better go get certified in that. I said, no, you do not need certification. You already know what you're doing with this. Why would you need a certification? You're a doctor. A lot of authority online, by the way, when it's like doctor or PhD, it helps. So we were talking about like the pivot. Okay, what do people already know? What can we do? The thing is, don't always be looking outside yourself to get more and more and more and more certification. By the way, doctors love that. They just love getting certifications because they think that they have to get just 20,000. That's not it. It's all about the marketing. So people that have no certification, how come we can help people with no certification get clients, but then all these other people that have so much certification aren't getting clients? Why? Marketing.
Yes, that's really it. And I hear that a lot. But I did this and this and this, and I really know my stuff, and I have these testimonials. Well, who knows about it? Nobody will know about it if you're not marketing it.
Exactly. So it's really about just saying, hey, you know what? I am, some of my clients say, I really want to be a coach. I say, great. What are you good at? What do you help people with in your life? And they say, well, one person was like, I've always helped people with their relationships, and I have a really good relationship. And they ask me and I help them for free. I said, then you are a natural born relationship coach. You do not need any kind of certification for relationship coaching. Like, dating coaching or relationship coaching, because what that's working, that you've helped people. And I guess there are relationship coaching certifications, which kind of make me laugh, because it really must just be how to speak to people. Because if somebody doesn't actually know about relationships in their own life, they shouldn't be coaching somebody.
Right.
Just because you got a certification in it, right? So that means that somebody.
Yeah, because sometimes the certified people are nuts.
Well, you said it. Or they just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about, because they just got to somebody could get a life coaching certification, but they go through it. They're going to get the grades. That does not mean they're talented at speaking with people and evoking how to get that person their best life. Not at all. That they might. They're just teaching them how to conduct a coaching session. That's just mechanics. That's not the meat of coaching. It's the energy of that person helping you, even if they're rough around the edges, or they're not great at speaking, or, like they have to be able.
Yeah, but people understand that personality like House. They're like, yes, but he was a genius and he got to the end result and he saved their life.
Exactly.
They understand it with that, but then with their own self, there's all this imposter syndrome, or I can't really ask to pay for that. It's inauthentic. I should just do it for free. How are you able to coach people through limiting beliefs like that when they're really, their soul is yearning to do more?
Well, we have a lot of I call it the beyond mindset. Everyone has doubts. And what you want to do is you want to get rid of the doubt, even if you have fear. So everybody has fear. People that are high achievers all have fear, and they're lying if they say they don't. It's a big pain body of fear because it's pushing us to the next level. Okay, and you kind of know when you're kind of reached a certain point, and okay, I need to go to the next one. And there's fear involved. How am I going to do that again? I got here. Fear is normal. Human beings have fear. It's survival. You cannot get rid of fear. You can use fear. You can make fear less. You can tame fear. But when people say, oh, I have no fear, they're lying. Absolutely lying. Even the highest achievers in the world say, Grant Cardone was saying he's scared to death every day. Okay. So the difference is, yes, you have fear. That's okay. We all have fear. Welcome to the human race. Don't pretend you don't. Be courageous. That's the goal, is courage. Not getting rid of your fear. And the goal is to get rid of your doubt. That's the goal. Doubt's different. That's killing you. Self-doubt. Now, how I got rid of this was in my very specific fashion. I have years ago when I first started coaching, this is 13 years ago, I was very vulnerable. I thought, oh my goodness, I got to make this work. But I was really sensitive, and I hadn't had that much success yet, because still you have a bunch of clients. You had a few, but you're building on that, and your life is vulnerable, and, there's a lot going on, and you're not feeling very secure. So you're more sensitive. And I realized every time somebody said something to me that made me doubt myself, that's food on the table for my kids. That's putting off how long it's going to take me to get back into things. I'll give you an example. Somebody says something, and then that thing of, talking myself off a ledge, that thing, that's self-doubt. You go into that. Now you're on a ledge at all. I know I got to spend, how long does that take? A week? 2 weeks? Sometimes a month? Pick how long it takes. Start noticing. How long does it take to get yourself back on track? And what I realized, I thought, wait a minute, because I'm very mathematical. I thought, wait a minute, I can't waste time here. That person said that. It made me doubt myself. Usually, do I always get back on track? What's the answer? Well, yes, I do. Or I would have, the logical truth is, do you always get back on track, Jeanne? Yeah, I do. I do get on back. So I think, okay, I'm just going to fast forward that. When the old VCRs that go,
yeah.
So I created this thing where I thought, okay, if I get through this really quickly, I'm going to bypass all that hurt and pain and, going through the cycles by doing it quickly. So I would literally go, okay, I'm past it. I'm off the ledge. 2 seconds. And my mind knew that I just fast tracked that, and it worked. It's kind of, I was using NLP, but I figured something else different out with it. And it worked. And I thought, wow, okay, I just saved 2 weeks of self-doubt and hating myself and self-loathing. We're done. Now I just saved 2 weeks and I'm back on track, and I didn't make my kids spend more time with their mom, wasting time of going into her. Why? It's just self-flagellation, I call it. Okay. So I figured this out. I thought, wow, I just figured out how to save so much time, because I realized we always get past it unless we actually stop. Did you give up, Jeanne? No, I didn't. Did you get past it? Yes, I always get past it. How long is it taking? A week, 2 weeks? No, not doing that anymore. I'm just going to go, shoot, done. And it worked. Okay. So I help my clients with this too. And they're like, wow, you just helped me, like this whole thing of going into your mind. And I call it the washing machine cycle, going around and around. And you've done this a million times. You keep doing it.
Daydreaming. I call it drama dreaming, where you go through the thing. And I'm like, I do the same thing. I can find myself. I'm a worrier, a horrific worrier. And I can be under a bridge with rats eating my toes like that. Right? If this doesn't happen, then this will happen, and I'll be under a bridge and rats are going to eat my toes.
And you're a homeless woman.
Yes. Right? Because I experienced homelessness. So I'm back there. And so I would, as a teen, I was homeless. I went to college, as a homeless kid. So I go and I think about that, and then I'm like, but and will do it but I have to visualize it. I have to visualize all the things that have to go wrong in order for me to end up there. And then I love playing video games. I do gaming. And then I realized, but wait a minute, that's impossible, because in any person's life, if you're a decent person, you have leveled up on different stages. You've met a friend. You have a stage that you've hit. And I realized that all those stages prevent you from going all the way down to the bottom to where rats are eating your toes. You'll stop. Right. And then I go, okay. And it's the same thing. So what's the chances of that really happening? And so I can't be afraid, because that Who Moved My Cheese book, right? What would I do if I were not afraid?
Yes.
Well, I would just keep on going, right?
Okay. Well, the thing is, you're going to be afraid, and that's okay. Yeah. That's the point. You're going to be afraid. We have to stop pretending we don't have a dark side. We do. And it's that side that wakes up in the middle of the night and goes, oh gosh, am I failing? Am I going to fail here? But everybody else, you got to be like, okay, they can't see all that because you don't want your team seeing that, right? But the fact is, every single high achiever, every single athlete that actually, famous people, they admit, yes, there was always that, oh my gosh, what if? Or I've now reached here and now I'm like, oh, how do I get to there? So it's really about
embracing. Every highest achiever I've ever met has embraced knowing they did it.
Yes.
And they openly say, I'm working through this now. And they will.
And they've also been through hell. Yeah. And it was not easy. And they also have a dark side. The dark side is there. It's Jungian. We all have a dark side. It's not all cheerful and now I'm here and arrived. It's what next?
Yeah.
So the thing is, how do we do that? We just say, okay, look, nobody but me really cares that much about my life. Let's face it. So what I'm going, my monodrama, we have to understand, nobody cares. You're going through it's all in your mind. Okay? So if you get through that really quickly and just get back on track, nobody notices either way. You've just tortured yourself going through all that over and over. My whole thing is just stop it. And when you say to yourself, just stop it, guess what? You do. It's an NLP. And it's so simple. People always have to, this is the problem. Every single thought that goes through your head is not worthy. We have millions of thoughts. But people say, oh, I just have to process this. And not every thought has value. You're not like, it doesn't. So, this thing of, oh, I have to process that. No, you don't. No.
I love this.
Thousands of thoughts. You don't need to process every single one. Leave it. This is why these people are stuck all the time, the touchy-feely people that are just so stuck. Oh, that person, I just have to process what that person said. And they spend their whole lives being weak. But they're masking it by, oh, I'm a processor, I have to process. No, you don't. Not every single thought has such great value. It's just a thought. There's millions of them every day in each of our brains. So where are you going to get the space to process every single thought? It's not important. Not every single thought is important. It's really not.
How do you help people prioritize that? The people who have a problem prioritizing that, because so many things go to hit some internal injury of theirs, like to get over that, so that they're not just, this open wound to the world where everything's just hitting them and they're just like, yeah, but I'm just going to move forward.
Exactly. You're going to move forward no matter what. So I had a physician as a client, and she had a lot of we call it imposter syndrome. I don't believe in imposter syndrome. Once we gave that a name, guess what? Everybody had that disease. As soon as it was a syndrome, everybody had it.
They call it social contagion. That came from anorexia going to Japan. They had 3 girls who had ever died of it. And then one investigative reporter did this very sensational story about this quote unquote American disease where these fraught teenagers would just waste away. And within it became very sensationalized over the TV there. And of course, Japan's not a big country. But within a year, they had 12 girls dying a month.
Unbelievable.
And then they did a study on that. How could that even happen? It wasn't happening really before. It's called social contagion.
Exactly.
And then the CIA has researched this at length, and it makes me wonder about a lot of the things that we're seeing here.
As soon as we heard imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
everybody had it. And I thought, what? And I remember thinking, what is that exactly? Because I don't buy it. Well, you cannot be an imposter of your own self. So what's the imposter of? The imposter of somebody else? No, I'm not pretending to be somebody else. All it is lack of confidence. That's it.
Yep.
So they made something that was a mere lack of confidence into a disease or a syndrome. All it is lack of confidence. And when you delabel stuff and make it so simple, it's no longer sexy. Oh, I just lack confidence. Okay, I can fix that. Right? But if you have a disease or a syndrome, how are we going to fix that? We've got to get a doctor onto that. So when I share this with people, imposter syndrome is in and of itself a misnomer and impossible. To be an imposter, what am I an imposter? I'm an imposter of Jeanne Omlor? No, I'm Jeanne Omlor all the time. And sometimes I'm super confident and sometimes I may be less confident. Still Jeanne Omlor, confidence or not. That's it. Boom. So when I explain this to people, they're like, oh, okay, I get that. It's more about just, so anyway, getting back to the doctor. We created this high ticket offer. Okay. And I said, none of my clients ever do betas because you are worth more than that. Why would I make you get training wheels when we can go straight to high ticket because you are worthy and ready right now? You are worthy and ready right now. There's no training wheels, no jumping through hoops with me. And I've done this many times. Let's just go straight to high ticket because you're worth it. And they're like, oh, okay. We get them. Okay. That's going to work. Yes, it will. Works all the time. Yes. Okay. It's worked before. Great. Got her a great high ticket. And then I said, okay, this is what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. She leaves me a voice message. And it was a Saturday. And I get this voice message. She goes, okay, Jeanne, so I've gotten 7 people into my beta. And I'm like, listen, but what beta? I was like, what beta? What are we? I was trying to figure it out. And then I'm tying my shoes. And I'll never forget, I was tying my shoelaces. And I thought, oh, no. It's like untied shoelace. I picked the phone up and I called her on Facebook Messenger. I said, hi, Anna. What do you mean about betas? What? And she goes, she goes, I'm just not worthy. She goes, nobody's going to. I said, okay, stop. And she stopped. I did an NLP on her. She just stopped. And she stops crying. This is a physician, by the way. I said, listen to me. You are worthy and ready right now. And you are not going to do a beta. She goes, oh, but now I've sold it. I said, no problem. I said, you have to fulfill, but no more. So now you got to do those 4 for free, but stop advertising that. And you are going to charge $4,500. And this is what you're doing, what we agreed on, because you are amazing. She was amazing. I said, what you do, this is what you're doing. And she went, okay. She gets back to me the next week. She says, Jeanne, that was the best thing you ever did. I've gotten 5 clients at a $4,500 price because you spoke power into me. I just got goosebumps. And she said, I kind of regret doing it. I said, it's okay. We immediately, she said, thank goodness you called me right then because I was going to take 20 betas. And she said, then it would have been months. I was pushing the can down the road because I felt like I wasn't worthy. So was that imposter syndrome or her not feeling worthy? What do you think?
That was her not feeling worthy. And I'm going to tell you, betas in coaching, which, I've been a strategist, but I've also worked, with what I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. Anytime you you give away a high ticket, all this value for free, doing a beta is the worst way that you will actually give yourself a syndrome because the people are not going to value it because they paid nothing for it. It doesn't matter what you do you can revolutionize their life. They could in 4 months have their house paid off, everything else, and they would still not value it and think, well, I mean, I should have just known that because they gave that away.
No, actually, they do value it. They do value it, and they give these testimonials. And every time I see a testimonial, and it's from a beta, I can tell. And I say to the person, "Oh, that was a free client." Oh, how did you know? I said, energetically, you can tell they got something for free, and they just turned up. Oh, she's amazing. And I said, they did not pay you a cent. I can tell. They said, what? I said, I can tell every time somebody gives a testimonial that they did not pay for. So they can be grateful. That's not the point. The point is, you've just wasted.
They're ungrateful. It's that they don't take it in. They won't take it forever. Whereas somebody who pays for it will take it and work on it, and they will value it more. Not that they will be grateful. But yeah,
Yeah,
you had
you're
said
correct.
you had said
Yeah.
something once. You had said you just have to open your mouth and say the price. I heard you say that, and
Yeah.
I thought, if that is not the best way just to say that, just open your mouth and say the price.
Yeah, I mean, that's really how simple it is, isn't it? Stop it.
is.
Stop it. She stopped. I thought, you know what I thought when she started that? I thought, I am not going to go into this touchy-feely process. No, I know where that's going to go. I knew it.
It was
I thought, nope, this is just a stop it moment. And she just went, oh, okay. And then I said, you're going to go out there and do what we planned. You got it? She went, got it. She goes, Jeanne, I love you. She made so much. She made $28,000 in like 9 weeks of working with me. And she said, oh my gosh, I want to get my husband to do this. I want to quit being a doctor. She said, I would have just done that forever if you'd not, put a stop to that when you did with the word stop. So I agree with the beta. But the worst thing is, the reason you're doing the beta is because you don't think you're worthy yet. And you're not going to feel any more worthy after giving away all that free stuff, wasting your time, kicking the can down the road. It's not going to make you feel better. You're going to be like, oh gosh, why didn't I ask for money? Now I'm further out. And you need to, now you've marketed as a freebie. Now you got to unmarket as a freebie and turn up as somebody that's worth paying. You got to unbrainwash people that you're a freebie coach, cheapo coach.
And unbrainwash yourself.
Right. But mainly it's your market. Well, yes. And your market now thinks you're a free coach. Well, why should I pay her? She was just giving that away for free 2 months ago. Worst thing ever.
It is the worst thing. And I've done it. That's how
I've never done that.
I did. I had my own program. I had worked tirelessly to have it. It was an online coaching program. I had put just blood, sweat, and tears into the back office. It was a seamless experience. And I did, well, it wasn't a free beta, but it was still heavily discounted.
Yeah. Not worth it.
Boy, no, it wasn't. And I learned the hard way how not worth it was. If I would have done it earlier, I would have had much greater success in the end. It wouldn't have been so hard. And I went through everything that those clients went through mentally and just spiritually. So I can tell you from experience that Jeanne is correct on this.
Yes, value yourself. Yes. Value yourself. You don't have to jump. There's nobody, everybody thinks there's this person, a being out there that just makes you jump through hoops. Who is that person? That's yourself. You're creating this people, them. No, there's no them making you jump through hoops. There's no rule of how much you've got to, prove yourself. That's you. I've proven that time. When I take that mask away, there's nothing behind the curtain, folks. There's nothing. That you've created that, I call it the velvet rope, that you can't get into that cool disco. You're the one that put that rope there. That's not the disco. Well, sometimes it is, but I'm saying, you got to take the velvet rope away and realize you're them. Those people in that cool disco, you're them. The people that have made a lot of money, when I realized I'm them, I became them. I became one. I thought, I'm them. I just have to understand I'm them, and I'm going to be them. And that's how I got to $1 million. I thought, yeah, there I am. Now I'm them. Now I'm one of them. Join the club. It's your choice to be a them or with them, us, we. You know what I mean? There's so much.
Yes. And what I think is interesting is, do you feel like maybe your training as an actor where you really had to think, you had to tell yourself, I'm going to think and embody someone else. I have to make myself think differently so I can understand their point of view. Do you feel like that helped you just go, wait a minute, it's just a mindset? Because all these characters, they had a completely different mindset. And some made decisions based on that mindset that got them incredible results. And some made decisions based on their mindset and it got them crap results. Do you feel like that's helped you?
Absolutely. And you know what? We have to work with alter egos. All the top people have alter egos. Okay. Kobe Bryant, his was the black, what was he called? The black mamba? That snake? He got that from a movie. What was the movie? Kill Bill, I think it was. And he became, so everybody knew it. It was called, was it called the mamba? The mamba.
Mamba. The black mamba. I think.
What was his, and he made that his alter ego. You have Beyonce. She's Sasha Fierce, right? So, this is mine. Well, I'm also known as Queen Bodisha, but this is like when I'm on a sales call, I'm just going to share. This is mine. I'm the voracious life changer.
Oh, I love it.
So to my thing, yes, that does help because it's just all a bunch of entities, right? And I worked a lot with alter egos because it gets you out of being the small me. It's okay, I'm not Jeanne Omlor. I'm just this, I'm Queen Bodisha. I'm this warrior. And I'm going to, ride into battle and bring my clients with me. That is my alter ego is Queen Bodisha.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny. I was on another podcast and they said, like, who are you really? And I thought, I said, I'm actually an evil villain, but I'm a nice person. And they looked at me weird, but it just came out, right? And because I always joke with my best friend, I'm like, it's Aphrodite Jones time. And I think of myself as this like Greek. She's got a bad side to her. You don't really don't want to piss her off, but she's the nicest person. She's really a lot of fun. Until you mess her up. And that's how I did with my kids. I was like, we will have the most fun you ever had with me, but there are rules. And if you obey the rules, you will have the least fun you've ever had. And so, but you're right. We always have that. Well, that's fascinating.
And there's a dark side. There's a dark side to Queen Bodisha, killing people and riding into battle. And there's a dark side to your thing. And, all high achievers have a dark side. And a lot of them are kind of like villains. They aren't they're not nice people, some of them.
Well, I hate to say villain like they're bad, but if you ever watch Disney, let's face it, the evil queens had the best wardrobe. They were the most interesting.
There's a saying,
they did whatever they wanted. I always was like, but is it so bad she became a dragon?
Well, they say that he loves a good villain. They love a good villain. I'm not a bad villain. But anyway, so that's how it's really simple. It's, the question, am I prepared to do what it takes to get over this mindset trash? You are or you're not. People are attached to that. And it kind of like sickens me because it's like, oh my gosh, they're so attached to the process of that trash that if they could just say, I don't want that anymore. Boom, we're done. I'll give you an example. One of my very first coaches, I went to the event and he said, you know what, Jeanne? He said, you're such a perfectionist, it's going to kill you. He said, that's going to hold you back in your business. That's going to do this. You know what I said? He said, you got to get rid of that. You know what I said? Done. One word. Done. I was listening. And I thought he's right. And he said that in front of a bunch of people. And I was okay with that. And I said, done. And guess what? I have not been a perfectionist ever since. That's decision made.
Incredible. Yeah.
That's the point. People have to understand you are the one driving the car. You are the one that gets to make the decisions. And I know that. And I thought, done. I've made that decision. I'm deciding that I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go, I'm going to try and it's so hard. No, he's right. I started thinking again of time. I thought, time wasted. Done. Then I got well known for massive, messy action. Does that sound like a perfectionist to you?
No, that sounds incredible.
Right? And I thought, I'm going to
because action is better than perfection every single time.
Every day.
If you're stuck in perfection and you're not actually moving forward, I love the phrase, we're going to build this plane as we're flying it.
Right. Well, that's what I do. Actually, I tell people to just take off and figure it out. But the thing is this, then I became known, it was MMA, massive, messy action. And then as you get to know things, it becomes less messy because you're not perfecting, you're improving stuff. On social media, when I hit social media, that was before I was on social media, I was coaching by meeting people and, it was broken. It was, kind of working sort of. And then people would make fun of me. Oh, well, you just do selfies. And I'm like, yep. And I'm making millions of dollars just using selfies. Why don't you go blah, 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 marketing, branding? Why should I? It's working. And I just got to this point where it's laughable. Do I have, I hate getting photos taken. Did I get some professional photos again? Finally? Yes, I did. But the point is that I didn't care that they were saying it wasn't perfect. My lead magnets, people would laugh at them, but there was so much value in my ugly lead magnets that people were like, wow, I need to coach with you because my stuff looks beautiful and I don't make any money. Bingo.
Jeff Walker said it best, ugly sells.
Ugly sells.
He was talking about emails.
Yes. So I was like,
I could talk to you for all day, Jeanne, but we're
So
going to
do
have
it.
to,
Yeah.
we're going to have to do it up. Hey, tell everybody how they can reach out to you.
Okay, super simple. Again, I'm a simple person. My name, JeanneOmlor.com, or my name, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm all over the place. Also, I have a podcast called Business Wealth Impact.
That sounds
On
great.
YouTube.
Well, guys, you've heard it. Jeanne Omlor, that's Jeanne, Jeanne, Omlor, OMLOR.com. Now, we will also have this on our free school. If you go to superclinicproject.com, you can click there, and we're going to have special downloads with this episode. So we will have a cheat sheet or a workshop or a worksheet or a quiz that goes with it that we create for all of our episodes, as well as all the links you need to get to her, or you can just go to her directly. I want you guys to like, comment, and share. Please give us a 5-star review. It's how we get just world-class people like Jeanne on our show. So please do it. And Jeanne, thank you so much for being here today.
You're so welcome.
You've been listening to the Super Clinic Project podcast. If you like what you hear, subscribe and stay tuned for further episodes of the Super Clinic Project podcast.